Hey guys, welcome back to the Building Performance Workshop, where we're building the dry vault, which is a room that's going to contain all of our diagnostic equipment, our tools that we're building the house with, etc. It's going to be dehumidified. It has to be airtight if it's going to be dehumidified. It has to be insulated if we want to keep it from fluctuating. And it's going to be dehumidified with a desiccant dehumidifier, which is a special piece of machinery. So right now, we're in the stages of perfecting the enclosure. The enclosure is the most important thing to get right because you only do it one time. It's not like a machine that's going to dry out the room that we can just replace whenever we want to if it's not doing its job. So we want to make sure that the airtightness and the insulation are perfect. Why would we take an extra bunch of time and make sure that it's perfect? Well, because we're only doing it one time. This is the only time you get to make this perfect. So this is my favorite insulation to work with. You may have seen in the Tiny Lab videos that we worked with an insulation that was not a lot of fun to work with. It was green and sustainable, but it was not actually easy for the person who's actually installing it. And this is the person you want to make happy, homeowners, quick note, and also builders. If you give them something that's nasty to work with, they're going to try and make as fast a job of it as possible. Now, we could have done this in 5 minutes, but it would have been terrible for the performance of the room later on. So Rockwool is our new product partner, and this is the stuff to work with. This is literally made out of rocks, and when you lug 20 or 30 bags of this out of a 53-foot long semi, you will know that it's made out of rocks because it really is heavy. It makes it very sturdy. It holds itself into the wall perfectly, and I'm actually going to show you how sturdy it is later when we ask it to do something really crazy. But for right now, you can see that it's all installed perfectly. This is called Grade 1 insulation. Grade 1 means perfect. There's only one right way to do this, period. There's a million wrong ways to do it. And I was inspecting houses for years in Chicago and now in Atlanta and around the country when we were on tour that had insulation that was put in hurriedly. Once you put the drywall up or whatever it is that's going to enclose these walls, you never get to go back and do this right. So the right answer is not tucking it in along the sides like this. Main ingredient in insulation is air. I hope that you said if you've watched enough of our videos. So this is not going to work right, and I'm going to see that in infrared, which we're going to look at in a few minutes. So instead, all you have to do here is spank it. This is what's really beautiful about this insulation too. If it's not right, you just give it a little spank. It's nice. It's like a more sexy process. So I'm going around spanking all this insulation. We've got it all installed perfectly where we've got one full bat here and a bat that we had to cut. When you cut it, you make sure to wear your PPE, your personal protective equipment. That is your mask, because you don't want to get this stuff in your mouth or in your lungs, and also your goggles or your sunglasses or whatever you like, because you don't want to get it in your eyes. Now, note for homeowners and builders alike. People say to me all the time, hey, I don't want any mineral or fiberglass or anything in my house because I don't want my kids breathing it. This stuff is, once you enclose it, you will never breathe it if you do the air sealing properly. So I don't care how nasty this stuff is to breathe. Once it's inside the wall and it's enclosed, it's never going to be a problem ever, ever, ever again. So if it's in the attic, not a problem. If your attic is air sealed. Is your attic air sealed? If you don't know, the answer is no. If you know for a fact that it is, you should have a blower door number and a zonal pressure number that tells you that it is, and you can brag to your neighbors about that. That's really cool. So I'm going to show you how to install this stuff. It's super simple. Bag of Rockwool insulation. This is R15. Another thing that's cool about this insulation is the density, the way that they've packed in smaller and smaller air bubbles and more of them, means that R15 is the insulation value that you get. If you were to get fiberglass insulation or cellulose insulation, or even spray foam insulation, open cell spray foam, you would get R13. If that, you might get R12 point whatever, and we round up, it's fine. But you get an extra R2 out of this, and R stands for resistance to heat bleed. That's good, we want that. So R15 is better than R13. R23, which is what we're putting on the roof, is better than R19, which is what you get with other kinds of insulation. That's another reason to like this. And here's how we cut it. So first of all, we have a cavity. This cavity is 24 inches on center. Another thing to like about this, they sell it in 24 inches on center. So we take a very nice bat of insulation. You can see how well it holds up. And you simply fit it into the cavity. Now you can see that I've accidentally tucked it in here. Spank it. And I've got it hung up on an anchor here at the bottom into the slab. That's okay, I can fix that in a bit. Okay, so now this is totally in, and again, it's going to be a little bit pokey outy. I'm not too worried about that because once I put the panel, whatever it's going to be, drywall, in this case masonite boards that are really thin, we put that up against it, it's just going to put this in place. Cutting. Bread knife or steak knife or whatever serrated blade you prefer, and a square is very simple. We're going to put this here. I need to take off 7.5 inches. So I just go out to 7.5, make a test slice. Now another really cool thing about this company is that they actually thought again about the person who's installing it, and they put this grid work of kind of recessed pattern in here. I don't know how well you can see this, but I am seeing the shadows pretty clearly. So all I have to do in order to cut it is follow the straight line of the grid work. I don't have to make lines in my insulation. There's a grid going this way and there's a grid going this way. So if I want to make a cut, very simple to do. I just follow the straight line all the way down to the bottom. And you can see again how well this stuff stands up. Bam. Lightweight when you actually have them one at a time, not a full bag of it. Okay, electrical outlet. This junction box is going to be in the way. Now I could do what most people are going to do, which is just stuff this to the side. I promise you, if you take an extra 15 seconds, insulation installers, and you ask for this, builders and home buyers, homeowners, it'll make it better. So we're going to cut out for this so that the air can maintain its insulation value, and also it just looks sexy. Like everything about this type of work, home performance, is about attention to detail. If you're not paying attention to detail, just do whatever messy stuff you want to do, which is what we've been doing in houses for decades, and that's why we have houses where everybody thinks that they have problems, and that's just the way houses are. Not true. Tiny Lab is an example. So I just simply cut out where the electrical outlet is. And fit this bad boy around. Now, if I've cut out too much, I can always come back through and place cozily a little extra piece of insulation in here, like so. But I don't want to stuff this stuff into place if I can possibly help it. So, spanking it. And now you can see that you can't see any of the side of the stud. All you see is the front of it, all the way up. All right, easy peasy. Now all the walls are complete, and we're going to see an infrared scan in a minute. I want to show you next what the ceiling is like, because this is going to blow your mind. Installing it in the ceiling, we've got these R23 6-inch bats that are a little bit bigger than the ones in the wall. That means that they're a little heavier, they're a little deeper, they're a little bigger dimension-wise. Ray, if you would help me out with this. We are going to insulate this entire ceiling the same exact way with wire to make sure that these bats don't fall out sometime in the next couple minutes here. But you can see that there is no wire in place, and these things hold themselves in perfectly well. This is a 24-inch wide cavity. That's amazing. If you were using fiberglass, you can't do this. You would absolutely need this wire to keep it up. Now, all we have to do here, just to make sure that it's not going to come out and hit us on the head or fall and be ugly, is attach the wire in a couple places. So once we've done that, then I'm sure this stuff isn't going to come out. And actually what we're not going to do here is install any ceiling paneling at all. You'll be able to see the airtightness layer, which is what we're going to get to next.